Okay, so the settings is broken up into multiple sections. The first section is for the firmware version, and it shows you the current firmware that you're currently running on. The next section is the clocks, and this is a very important section because having the IrrigationCaddy time set properly is critical. You can set the clock in 3 different ways. You can click on this button and that will sync the computer time, so your computer time, to the sprinkler system time. The second way is manually. So this is like the start times. You can click here and a day picker pops up. You can select the date, and also you can select like with the start times, the hours and the minutes, and then click done when you're done. Next we have NTP time. So NTP is a way of setting the time by going into the internet and getting time off of a time server. Next we have the network settings. The network settings shows you the current settings for the system and also new values in case you would like to change them. By default, the IrrigationCaddy ships configured with DHCP, which means that when you connect it to the network, and if you have a router on your system, on your network, it will try to assign a DHCP address. If that's not good enough, or if you would like a static IP, you can also do that. So by clicking on this radio button, you can now set a static IP address. You can also change the host name. By default, all IrrigationCaddy is shipped configured with IrrigationCaddy as the host name, but you can change that. Next is a very nice feature, and that is the zone names. So it is possible with the IrrigationCaddy to name each one of the zones as opposed to just knowing their numbers. So let's say that for zone 1 we call that the front, and then the zone 2 is the backyard, so let's call it backyard. And zone 3 is on the side of the house, so let's call it side. And as you can see, you can set descriptive names for each one of the zones. Next, we have authentication. If you would like to protect access to the IrrigationCaddy on your network, you can set it to ask you for a username and a password. So by checking on the user authentication, you tell the system that every time that somebody is trying to access the caddy, that a username and a password is asked from the user. So next you enter a username and you configure the password, and then you save. Then at the bottom we have other settings. On the other settings we have use sensor 1, and this is for the rain sensor. So if you click on the checkbox, that means that you have a rain sensor on the system and that you would like to use it. The next one is the use number 10 as master valve, and what this setting does is it configures zone number 10 on the IrrigationCaddy as a master valve. If you don't have a master valve and you would like to use number 10 as a regular zone, you would uncheck this setting. Finally, we have the max zone runtime, and so this setting is so that if you make any mistakes and you set the runtime to run for too long, that could be a problem, but this would prevent that. So we can say, for example, I wouldn't like anybody to set it beyond 30 minutes or 33 minutes. So let's go back to 30. So there you go. So now it's set to 30 minutes. And what that means is that when we go to program the zone, the slider is not going to go beyond 30 minutes. So that way it's not possible to make a mistake and set a zone to run for 6 hours and create a pool in the backyard.